Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Scott Anderson and I'm the singer for Finger 11.
Beautiful, Scott. Thanks for joining us today, brother.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So, Finger 11 will be releasing your new album Last Night on Earth on November the 7th, man, which isn't far away at all now. So, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling I'm feeling good, nervous. I felt everything there is to feel about this album. It's been a long journey and I'm so happy that it's finally coming to an end and it's going to materialize in an actual record. Uh I'm thrilled.
Yeah. It's your first studio album in over a decade, mate. Like, you guys have been there, done that. You've got your set fan base. But was there any extra pressure? Because it's sort of like a comeback album being so long.
I think there's a lot of pressure because of the time. It's like, okay, well, you can't just put out anything. There's been so much time that's gone by. And so that I think that hung over our heads a little bit, but it doesn't change the day-to-day um um writing where it's like, okay, well, we're still going to try to do the best we can. Where that's what Finger 11 does. We're going to get in a room and try to make the whatever idea we're working on the very best it can be. So we did that over and over to many songs and there's until somebody gave us a hard deadline. It used to be you were in a studio that you would rent for a month or two, and then when that time ran out you were done the record. There's no more resources left. You're done. So it was kind of the polar opposite this time. We had all the time in the world, and so we just refined ideas over and over and over. But yeah, at a certain point it's like, okay, let's put out a record, let's do it.
Mm. It's only human nature, mate, that individually and collectively, like the whole band would have changed quite a bit over 10 years. So was that noticeable during the creative and the recording process?
I think we're all different people, but you know, e even in live shows, I think we all feel like we're like 17-year-old kids again. There's something like there's all kinds of different, we're all in different situations, but the band has remained, you know, all the way through those things. So I don't know. I feel like well, I haven't. This is I can look back and go, wow, I've never done anything this long. My last real job was a gas station attendant. So, like I've been able to hang on to this job and I guess it's a real anchor, for me. And I it's, at its heart, like we still, it's a wonderful feeling to kind of get together and try to and make something with your buddies and to still enjoy that. That's awesome. I mean, that's worth it in itself, but to actually be, proud of, every single track on this record and have it come out and have the band be 100% happy at this time in their career, it's very satisfying. And, we're excited to share it finally.
Yeah, nice. Now, I know the answer to this next question. You know the answer to this next question, but your fans don't. So tell us a bit more about the album from a musical point of view and what you were going for with it.
Well, I think we knew it had to kick some ass. We knew that.
Yeah.
There had to be Finger Eleven is known for a few things. You know, there's there's heavy tracks. There's like the massive disco rock dance track, and there's ballads. Like we're not really afraid. Like every genre is just as important, but at a certain point, Finger Eleven is known for like a riff heavy band that's kind of begging you to turn it up. So there's the only other thing I was going for was to not be so damn negative this time. Try to like have heavy stuff that's a little more fun, as far as subject matter goes. Just um, but there's a lot of heavy stuff, and then there's like the title track "Last Night on Earth" is like a moodier tune. There's a song called "Laughing at the Storm," which is I think a really great track that's it's got this real ominous feel to it, but they all combine to make a really great musical ride. We obsess over the tracking, specifically Rick. the guitarist in the band, he'll you know, we discussed for weeks the running order, you know, just in case people listen to music the way we used to. Just in case.
Just in
And
case.
Rick is a giant vinyl collector, and so is James. And so they had to take those matters they had to take that idea into consideration as well. So it was all, it's all meticulously curated by the band, and it's a Finger 11 record. It's dynamic, and it's meant to be listened to front to back, but it's mostly meant to just kind of be enjoyed if you're a music fan.
Yeah. And you've released the singles Adrenaline and Blue Sky Mystery. So would you say that they're a good sonic representation of the whole album, or are they just scratching the surface?
I think so. Those are two pretty high energy songs. There's a song called The Mountain, which has a ton of which again is a lot of fun, and it it, it definitely, the rock side of Finger Eleven is represented on this record uh really well. But there's a lot of you know I think you're going to hear it's a confident band. It doesn't sound like we've been mothballed for 10 years, and it's true. We've been working on these songs, um and just, you work on ideas, and then the cream rises to the top, and then you rewrite those till they're better, and then do it again and again and again. And so there's a high level of quality as far as the songs. There's not a lot of like, oh well, maybe we should just put this song on there. That didn't occur um on this project. So it's I think you'll be able to hear it. It's sonically a ton of fun to listen to.
I was saying to you earlier that I listened to the full album this morning before the interview, and the one thing that really stood out to me is like it's got a very 80s, 90s nostalgic rock sort of vibe, but everything just seems bigger with more focus on production. And am I correct in saying that?
I think you're right. We Finger Eleven likes to swing for the fences sonically. We tend to make big music. We have a producer in the band, as well as the other members themselves. But like Steve, the drummer, has basically produced this record, and he's 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 just interested in sonic perfection, you know, and I've worked with a lot of producers, and sometimes it's really hard to get comfortable, especially when you're doing vocals, and it's just you and them, trying to, when you're singing these words for the first time, and you're hoping it's hitting, and you got to trust that person on the other side of the glass to tell you if it is or not, and what you can do better, or which direction you should go. And Steve and I have been, we've had a great working relationship um, for the last record, and for the last 10 years. He's a new guy, and he's been in the band for 10 years. That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's I think that's where our main influences are, 80s, 90s, that those were, coming up. If you were lucky enough to kind of go through that era, there's a lot of the music that came out with just absolutely untouchable. Of course there's really good stuff coming out now, but man, oh man, we got treated, and to be there when it was coming out, pretty special.
Especially, and I read a quote from Rick where he said, as we were making Last Night on Earth, there was this feeling that we were making a big rock record. We'd done that early in our career, then we veered away from it, but it was time to go back and embrace that bigness of the sound. Like you can understand that as a musician, but for other people looking in, what do you actually mean by that? What do you mean by the bigness of sound?
I think to not be, to really go for it, to keep those guitars turned up. Maybe like rock music has fallen out of fashion, maybe, but I don't think we care. I think it's, that's the stuff that still resonates for us. And I think the idea to kind of do your best to not censor yourself. and go like, okay, do I like this idea? I'd like, let's think about it a lot, but let's not overthink it. And, let's just really go for it. You know, there's giant guitars on here. There's all kinds of like wild harmonies. You know, we're having a lot of fun creating big music. And, that's what you're going to hear.
I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, or it might even just be me in the way I think, but the very first few seconds of Adrenaline, which is also the album opener, it reminded me of the song Underneath the Radar, which like it subconsciously took me back to that era of music without actually having to think about it. Like it's kind of like subliminal advertising for cocaine, but legal.
Right, to say like, okay, look, this is where we're going. This is, be prepared, strap in. Yeah, it's important for us to like when we're writing music, it's like the beginning, middle, and the end are all, they're all just as important. And to have, every single, you know, every hit song has an identifiable beginning. And that's a hard thing to tack on, but it is something you got to think about. There's and we did and we do. There's a lot of that. So, we try to edit, to the point where it's like you leave you leave all the fat on the floor, and you just try to like get to the good stuff as fast as you can, and try to justify every single part. And I think that makes for a great song, and that makes you want to listen to it again.
It was really cool because it was only fleet, like it would have only been about 2 seconds, but my mind just straight away went to that song, which gave me an idea of what the album was meant to be overall. In some ways, it was one of those moments. It was a very very different sort of moment, but the song just changed after that, and it was nothing like Beneath the Radar. But it put me in that sort of mode of music. It's hard to describe, but if you did it on purpose, well done. If you did it accidentally, well done.
Yeah, if we did it on purpose, it's news to me.
Well, it's worked on one person, so
I mean, I'm in charge of the lyrics and melody. I don't know, man.
now, you had Richard Patrick from Filter appear on Blue Sky Mystery, and for a change, mate, like it's a modern collaboration that actually adds to the song. Like it doesn't feel like it's there as a by agenda. Like, and I understand that was the first time you guys worked together, despite both being around for over 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah, we had never met. And Finger Eleven doesn't do a lot of collaborating, right? But we were trying to entertain the idea, like what if? Like what's a good idea? What would be a dream project, you know? And there were a few people that on a pretty short list. And Richard Patrick, was um gracious enough to take our call, and he really liked the song, and we got to talking. I talked to Richard Patrick for about 45 minutes, and he's so easy to talk to. He's
Yeah, I met you
great.
a few times. It's awesome.
And he understood the song and he liked it. And we had to do the session remotely, and he really it's I admire his delivery, because it's hard when it's not your melody, it's not your cadence, it's not your words, but you have a handful of hours to really sell it. And he did. And he was also cool enough to come and film a video with us too. And that was a whirlwind moment. It was cool. He jumped right in, and we sang together, and we'd never met, and it was it was a total trip. And I think I, I think he had a very good time. The hope is that we collaborate further. Like we might even there's talk about going out on the road together, and that would be so wonderful. So we'll see what the future brings.
Yeah, cool. And you've also done a very brave thing by having the title track, which by proxy makes it the focus track of the album, but you've got it as an acoustic sort of number. Like it works really well, but was there ever a discussion that maybe that might have been a little bit too risky?
Yeah, it was a last minute decision. We had a different name for the album, and it was a pitch from either Steve or Rick, you know, kind of saying, "Hey, listen, what if we called the album Last Night on Earth?" and it seemed to resonate with the artwork that James was working on. It had this idea where it's like, there's this kind of like interplanetary, you know, imagery that the album the album art evokes for me. And that put the song in a whole new context. And I mean, it is a it's a wild idea, for a band that's known for its like loud guitars to go like, no, 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 this song, this album is called Last Night on Earth. But that's Figure 11 for you. The mellow stuff is just as important as the loud stuff. And I mean, I think fans that have been around for a minute, they understand that they're going to get all kinds of different sonic landscapes on every record. So, you know, yeah, risky move, but it felt like the right move, and it still feels like the right move. And it's well, it's too late to change it now. That's the title of the record.
Yeah, kudos to you though, mate. Because when I first read that, I just thought like, well, that's pretty fucking risky, But I listened to the song, and it's like these guys nailed it. You've come back and you've showed that you're not going to come back after 10 years and do what's expected of you, and try to make it big. You just come in, you're doing your own thing, and if you want to come for the ride, jump in. If you don't, well, see you later.
That is Finger 11 to a T, for better or worse. That's the secret sauce. We're gonna do our own thing, and every once in a while, people they come along for the ride. You're right. It's great.
Yeah. Now, before I let you go, bro, I've got a new segment I've started called Photo Bomb. So basically, before we've had a chat, I've gone through your social media and I found a few photos that I want you to tell me a little bit more about. I've
Okay.
got one here. Like this looks, where are you? This looks a lot like you, but with hair.
Oh, okay. So, and my glass. Okay, so that's me with glasses too. So this must be somewhere around maybe 1996, 97. And there's Rick too.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I think Rick and I are doing an interview in front of a tour bus. Um, that's not our tour bus. We thought we'd be funny and and pretend that like, oh, okay, we'll do the interview here. We're gonna look like a massive band. And you know, God bless us. Yeah, so that's back when I had hair and glasses. I mean, I recently have started wearing glasses again. I missed having my glasses. It was fun getting laser surgery and not worrying about glasses, but I do, you know, I like the way glasses look and feel. But yeah, old school. Look at us
Oh, good. The other
young
one I
customers.
found, the other one's like, it's not often that you see people in bands look like they're almost fanboying over another band, but you guys look pretty happy with this ticket.
Oh, okay, so what's that then? Let me take a look.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like make
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a concert. I think is that a concert hall? Is that what it says?
I can
There
only
was a
start
great
take
venue in
out Red Hot
Toronto.
Chili Peppers.
Yeah, so I think that was Red Hot Chili Peppers, Smashing Pumpkins, and Pearl Jam. Um, that was a legendary show that if that's the actual show, it was just I remember the Smashing Pumpkins were not received well. That's how early on in their career it
Oh,
was.
wow.
And they really played into like the heel persona. Like Billy Corgan he seemed like he wasn't happy to be there, and that was like part of the charm. But they went on to be incredible. But yeah, the audience was all they wanted was Chili Peppers that night.
I've still never seen Chili Peppers live, so I envy you there.
Yeah, I mean, so much energy, right?
Yeah, great band. Great band. All right, brother, but we'll let you go for the day now. But Last Night on Earth is out November 7th. And for a first time listener, take it from me, it's a fucking sensational album, bro. So congratulations and well done. And hopefully we see you on this side of the world playing it live soon.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot. Really appreciate that review. That's a good one, man. Thank you.